Ugh. Brother, what's that?
MashaAllah, brother.
Why would they marry for? Yeah, seriously. Let's be frank.
I can give you an honest answer, Sheikh.
Sure.
I genuinely believe the men who want it are guys who are just, they haven't had a first wife and their sexual desires are out of control.
Nope.
No?
100% not true.
Okay. Interesting.
Because most, if not all, those who want to get married to more than one, they're thinking of buying another SUV and a sports car and a sedan.
Yes.
So they just want to flex their muscles. How many wives do you have? Only one? I've got like 2. And if you have 2, yeah, Sheikh, Allah Azza wa Jal permitted 4. What is this?
Yes.
So they're not thinking of the bigger picture. And if you go to their homes, most of them, they have problems. They're not fair. They don't spend enough time. They favor one over the other. And it's not what it seems to be.
Yes.
I've done that. I've been there.
Assalamu alaikum. So I'm actually quite surprised at the Sheikh here for his answer, in the sense that he's giving this idea that polygamy is about equality, right? Where if you give the one an SUV, you should give the other SUV. If you give the one a house, you should give the other house, or something to that effect. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that there shouldn't be this type of balance between the two, but I don't think it's quite right to say equality, right? And fair enough, the Sheikh didn't say equality, but he did kind of make it out to seem like that. I think the proper sense, or the proper idea about polygamy, is equity. And in my experience, I think it's a means of seeing who, what, how is available to your respective wives, right? In the sense that what's the age difference? How long have you been married to your first wife? What has been acquired in your first marriage versus what goals are you setting for your second marriage? There's various dynamics when it comes into these types of things, right? Or when it is that you're going to get married, whether it's your first wife, your second wife, your third wife, fourth wife, right? I mean, what if it's a case where your second wife or your third wife, if it's my third wife, what if it's a case where it's a single mother, or she's a single mother and she already has a home? Maybe she has a parent living, or parents living with her, and she's she's perhaps wanting to stay with the parents, and it's this. It could be various types of factors that gets into play here, and you can think of all the types of scenarios, but in that sense, then I think it's equity. Equity is rather the correct position, rather than complete equality. And of course, you as the husband need to balance that out quite nicely, even to the degree where you don't favor one over the other with regards to their respective personalities and the way they do things, and so on and so forth. So, but of course, I'm sure the Sheikh knows that. I think he's just indicating it the way he does, to give type of some shock value, because I do think a lot of brothers have very warped ideas about polygamy, or like it's almost like a fairy tale to them, in the sense that they would have multiple wives and things would be smooth. And I'm sure if it is that they do have enough money, or could build themselves up to earn enough money to give some type of equality to their wives. But of course, it's not always that straightforward, and things can go wrong. Things can take a back turn. So a lot to think about. And of course, I think a husband needs hikmah. He needs wisdom in doing such a thing, getting married to multiple women.
Does a man judge a woman by her past? Why can't you just forgive and forget? Why does it bother you so?
I may forgive, but I won't forget. And I ask about her past, and she goes, "Oh, I had like 2-3 boyfriends." Even if she's like the perfect girl for me, my whole perception and view of her would change dramatically.
In Islam, it's not your business. If she did live in a sinful past, she does not need to tell you. Whether you are none the wiser or you find out from a different source, then that is your test between you and Allah. Those who conceal somebody else's sin, Allah will conceal yours on the day of judgment.
Malaysia has one of the lowest divorce rates in the Muslim world, right? In Malaysia, by law, to get married, you have to do a national exam with a national curriculum, a course that everyone has to do to get married. Bro,
You can't get married
if
without
you
that
want to go in
certificate.
any profession in life, you're gonna have to study for it, revise for it, get experience for it, whatever it is. This marriage is for life, bro. You have to have this is why Prophet ﷺ said that you have to have the means to get married. I believe this is one of the means, absolutely. But marriage
Especially in
it's
this
a
day and age,
national requirement, bro. And what does that course teach you? Rights of a husband, rights of a wife, whatever, and the identity of being a Muslim.
Where are you guys from?
I'm Somali originally, but I was born and bred in London.
I'm Japanese originally, and I've been living in London for 6 years.
Are you guys married?
Alhamdulillah, I just got married a few months ago.
And I'm not married. Yeah.
Are you planning on getting married?
Yeah, of course, inshallah. Inshallah, yes.
Alhamdulillah. What are some green flags in a potential wifey?
She's easygoing. She can compromise. She's understanding. She solves problems out by talking about it in a calm way.
I think things will become easy if both, like, she's on the deen. Like, if she knows that guideline and what to follow, what's your responsibility and so on, I think everything just follows after that.
And what about personality-wise?
My preference, but she's a bit and like shy, like not too open and motivated, I guess.
So just note the difference between the married guy and the guy who's not married. The guy who's not married gives this type of answer after the question, what are the green flags in a potential wife or in a woman? And he gives this type of, I'd say, airy answer. Easygoing. She must be able to compromise. Something to this effect, right? And no doubt, of course, these are things that a man would naturally appreciate. However, compared to the married guy, and this is the thing about experience, right? And I'm sure a lot of the older folk will tell us about the fact that they have so many years experience of being married, and so on. But the truth is that indeed, yes, it's true. The fact that experience does this to a person. So for the married guy, he says things along the lines of types of like, with regards to rights and responsibilities, knowing the deen well enough, knowing our roles, and I think that is quite the straightforward answer. That baseline is indeed true, and if that is, I think, well within the marriage, then of course it should work out well enough, I'd say. If men and women don't know, or the lines are quite blurry, then it's up to their own intuition or their own discretion to go about things as they want, which can be a bit dangerous. Not to say that you shouldn't rely on instinct and the innate actions with dealing with certain things. So that's my point.
Are you married?
No, I'm not.
I guess you were thinking about nikah somewhat.
No, actually not. Oh, it's very important for me to be able to stand on my feet first, financially. So I just want to be done with school and really have a job, which I can then support my family with.
Are there some green flags in a potential partner?
Well, the biggest green flag is if the person is good on his deen. With that, also hygiene comes. You really care about hygiene as well, because if he's not hygienic, then you have to be clean in order to be able to practice also your religion in a good way.
And personality-wise, some green flags for you?
Having a respect, I think, towards himself, towards me, and his elders as well. But there is a kind of boundary. If your elders are not right about something, he has to bring it on in a good way. So he has to be able to speak for himself.
I don't know, when I hear a sister talk about delaying marriage for the sake of a career or for the sake of her studies, she wants to be a little bit more independent, she wants to have some type of quote-unquote backing, just in case certain things go south. And I don't think the sister mentioned that particularly, but I mean, this is generally the case, right? I mean, it's quite obvious. Then I'm like, why are our fathers, or why are their fathers giving them this type of impression, I think? And I think it comes a lot from the father. The father's giving the strong advocation, like for your daughters to go out and work and study and become these types of independent women. But I'm sorry, I just disagree with that for the most part. Well, simply because a lot of these women are delaying marriage for their careers, for their studies. And then what happens is it comes to a certain point where they start to lose their ability to attract a man because I don't know, maybe they've taken too long. They've focused so much on their career, their studies, I'd say their their upliftment in other than marriage. They've this type of to get better in terms of material wealth, and they kind of like push themselves out the market because I mean women in of themselves are hypergamous, meaning that they only want to attract partners, or they want partners who are uh, let's say equal to or above them in various aspects, social status, wealth, strength. I mean, all these aspects. So it becomes quite difficult for them when it comes to their later age to then settle down. And also because they've acquired a certain type of lifestyle, they've spoiled themselves, or they've spent a lot of their earnings on themselves in terms of whatever it is, treating themselves, going on holidays, whatever, and then they expect a man to come in and do that or even more, which the market then doesn't really cater for, because I mean a man is not going to a man would preferably want to go for a woman who's perhaps more moldable, who is obviously under him in a sense, because like she has an hypergamy, he wants the authority, he wants the leadership, he wants someone who would respect him, who would look up to him. So it fits like a glove. And unfortunately, the older they get, the longer they delay marriage, women, the glove seems to not fit that well anymore. So